That old world charm, doo-doo-doo-doo. That old world charm, reviews say it's alright.
We're never going to start the show. I was just going to sit here like this until you.
What is happening? I forgot how to do a show.
Well, like when I've got three of the chattiest on the planet, and I can make them sit in silence for like 30 seconds, I feel like that's a skill.
That's powerful, Adam.
It's power
right there.
I'm the Dom. You're my little subs, my little sublets. That's it. That's how it works, baby. G'day, everybody, and welcome to another episode of That Old World Charm. Hopefully you've enjoyed that cold open and getting an insight of how the sausage doth be made. We are here to review the weirdly named Arcane Journal for Grand Cathay, even though it's not really an Arcane Journal, it's an army book. But this is going to be a super spicy review because this is the first brand new army for the old world ever so there. I mean, how long ago was the last time a brand new army came out for fantasy? Like, when was the last time they introduced a brand new army fantasy? It's got to be like pushing 20 years. And I can't even tell you what that army is.
Jeebus Crabubus.
Okay, so it's got to be Tomb Kings, right?
I'd assume it was Tomb Kings. And what was that? Was that sixth?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
it's got to be 20 years, Adam, or close to it.
We're 2 decades. 2 decades since the last time we went to this well. And still, like, an incredible amount of potential for new armies in this game as well, and as there has always been, because like the fluff has always been so encompassing. Like the fluff was always really holistic, and then the game was always a microcosm of the fluff. And then I feel like now with the renegade factions and stuff, we're playing a microcosm of the microcosm, which is quite frustrating. But anyway, we're going to be here to review this brand new faction, my lads, my boys, my loves. And of course, there's going to be part 2 of this one. We're going to be answering all your Cathay-related questions, talking about what we think are the best first press lists, where it's good, where it's bad, and what matchups will be really favored and disfavored out in that big wide meta. But off the top, we're always going to do those hot takes. And my hot take is that this is the best elf book that they've written for the edition so far. This is just like better elves. They've got jank. They've got incredible. The things that they're good at, they're extremely good at, like elves. They have some incredible magic items. Their magic is pushed really freaking hard, and some very interesting units to go along with it. But Fal-Con, what are your hot takes?
This is a really good book, but you have to think. You can't just point and click shit like Pretonia and Tomb Kings.
I don't want to.
But like, I would argue this might be the most balanced book they've released in terms of like unit capabilities, to points, etc. I love it.
But you, Danny?
Wow. That's glowing. I have never seen a more powerful balloon in my entire life.
That's a balloon. If it wasn't for the Falcon horn, I would change my original opinion to just run balloons. But anyway.
Well, yeah.
And we have this upcoming FAQ that's kind of looming on the horizon. I hope that maybe there's something that addresses how unbelievably powerful the Falcon horn is. But hey, look, maybe there's not, and that's okay too. It definitely keeps the balloon spam meta in check, which I believe would wholeheartedly proliferate if we didn't have.
Didn't Beastman just get a freaking horn-esque ability as well?
But they got to take a leadership 7 check on it. It's real bad.
That's fair. That's what the min squad of Bestigors sent next to the Hearthstone to make it like an 8. Yeah.
Oh, it's still a 7, but regardless. And then Cathay also has one now, which we'll get into later, but it's only once per game.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah,
the way it should be.
The blimp is pretty good.
The only words I can tell you about the blimp are the great words of Kang on an episode of The Simpsons. We must always go upwards, not forwards, backwards, not upwards, and always twirling towards victory. Because it's just so funny to me to have like a balloon that's somehow yeeting 16 inches across the floor. Like, how are they moving forward with such speed? They're floating. Anyway. Suspend your disbelief.
Adam, the headwinds.
The headwinds, yeah. They only fight with the headwind. How do they fall back? How do they retreat? How do they flee from a charge? Or just on demand. Just turn the winds. Turn all the winds. We're going backwards now.
No, you got it.
How funny would it be if all the blimps could only move in the same direction every time?
Well, kind of like Kind of like Battlefleet Gothic Eldar with their solar sailing. They can only go like so fast in a certain direction.
Oh wow! How many more references to how very old we are becoming can we get into this episode? All right, let's just jump right into this bad boy. First up, we're going to have the Grand Cathay Army list, and the reason I questioned whether this is an Arcane Journal is because there's no armies of infantry in this. This is just an army. Grand Cathay Army list. It's just got every unit in it. There's no armies of infantry in it. There's just a regular magic, items and stuff like that. But we did denote that there is going to be an Arcane Journal for Cathay coming, so they're going to get Arcane Journal.
Yep.
And then they'll have the armies of infamy in it. Also, Peter, you should plug the article you've written about this on Goonhammer.
Oh, yeah. So myself and Liam Jordan wrote a review article on goonhammer.com where you'll get even more words from me and my good friend Liam, who also playtested this book probably just as much, if not more than I did, in terms of how it plays. It's I would say it's 90% Liam's words and then 10% me making him sound funny. But yeah, it's a good time. Also, just to mention, there is no Army of Infamy, but Warhammer Community did indicate that there is one coming before the end of the year, and that will coincide with the release of the Miao Ying model. There was an article that seemed to mention that the Army of Infamy in the upcoming book would be like an invasion fleet or a which makes me feel like it'll be, you'll see Ying Yang, so another Cathayan dragon, because they're the leader of that fleet, which would be super cool. And this book is more like the Army of Nangao, which is like the main force, which is why we got Miao Ying.
Yeah, it's like the standing army of Cathay rather than the expeditionary force or something like that. Yeah, I read a little bit of the fluff, and the fluff is sick, and the artwork
so good.
On top of that, the artwork is fantastic because unlike every other book so far, all this artwork is brand freaking new. It's not rehashed, reskinned, redone, anything, and it's awesome. It is just freaking exciting to have a brand new army. But anyway, let us jump into this grand army list. Danny, you want to take it away, and then Peter, jump in with your anecdotes at the end.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't have a document, Adam. So
weak.
Peter,
take it away.
I'm happy to read it.
I will avoid you in the future.
So the Grand Cathay Army list, it features for characters. There are 7 potential characters you can have. You can have 0 to 1 Cathayan dragons per 1,000 points in an army list. Currently, the only Cathayan dragon is the named character Miao Ying, but this is definitely giving room for future Arcane Journals where we may see more. You can have 0 to 1 Shugengen lords or lord magistrates per 1,000 points. And then you can have as many Shugengen generals, gate masters, gatekeepers, and strategists that you want in a list. At core, you up to 25% of your army can be Jade Warriors. You can have as many Jade Warriors as you like. And you can also take 0 to 1 units of Jade Lancers per 1,000 points. In special, you have access to more Jade Lancers if you want to go that route. You can have up to 0 to 3 War Machines per 1,000 points in any combination of Cathayan Grand Cannons and Fire Rain Rocket Batteries. And if you chose to make your general a Shugengen Lord or Shugengen General, then you can have a Cathayan Sentinel in special. If you chose a Lord Magister or a Magistrate or Strategist as your general, then you may take a Sky Lantern in the special slot. And then finally, at rare, 25% of your points can be spent on Sky Lanterns and Cathayan Sentinels. You do have access to 20% mercenaries, although they don't tell you which mercenaries you have access to yet, just that they're there. And lastly, for allies, if you choose to ally, they may ally with any Grand Army, Army of Infamy, as well as literally any one of the factions in the Forces of Fantasy book. However, Kingdoms of Bretonnia and Wood Elves are suspicious allies. It does also make note that your battle standard bearer has to be a gatekeeper. That's the only option if you want to take a BSB. And in terms of other Forces of Fantasy armies, any of the armies in the Forces of Fantasy book can take Cathay as allies. It's just that Wood Elves and High Elves consider them suspicious.
Nice. This showcases just how how small a sandbox of units you're playing with Cathay. Like, you really do not have many units to pick from, but they have done a really good job of making all these units viable. In fact, it's almost insulting that they've managed to make what is essentially like 9 entries in a army composition list feel so well-rounded and good, where Empire can have 79 and 3 of them are still pretty mediocre. You know, they're awful, and then 3 of them are like, I guess I'll do this. I guess Demigryph's Knights and Knights in Core is good enough. Is essentially where they're at. And so this is really cool. I assume we're going to get an expanding on this as time goes on. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. I have no foreknowledge, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Arcane Journal comes out with, like you said, another model or 2 to expand the range. But as it sits right now, this is a pretty freeing Grand Army. It's up there with the rest as being, pretty flexible. Getting Jade Lancers in Core is one of the things I'm really hype about. I think Jade Lancers are fantastic in Core, and I'm not too high on Jade Warriors, even though I do think as far as rank and file infantry go, they're not bad either. But let us jump on in. First up, we have Miao Ying, or the Cat Girl, as I like to call her, because it sounds like you're trying to be a kitten when you say her name. The Storm Dragon. It comes in at 485 freaking points. And of course, you guys all know by now, you can have her in human or dragon form. Human form will be movement 4, still weapon skill 7 somehow, bliss skill 5, strength and toughness 4, 7 freaking wounds, initiative 7, 4 attacks, leadership 10. In dragon form, goes up to move 8 with weapon skill 8, bliss skill 3, strength 7, toughness 6, still 7 wounds, initiative 6, 6 attacks, and leadership 10 still. There is a lot to unpack here. She has a full 2-page spread, so we're going to take it in turn.
She has a 3-page spread.
Yeah. We have a new tier unlocked because I have my baseline ring-a-ding. This must be a good unit if they're on 2 pages. So we're heading a whole new level now on 3. I know this is uncharted territory, but whilst in human form, she's heavy infantry, and of course Behemoth in dragon form. Magic. In human form, Miao Ying is a level 4 wizard. In her dragon form, she's a level 2 wizard. She may cast a number of spells equal to her current wizarding level, depending on which configuration you're in. And those 4 spells are chosen in the usual way from the following magic laws: battle magic, elementalism, and high magic. Special rules is Celestial Forged Armor, which is a 5+. That means it's a 5+ ward save. But we'll get to that when we get to it.
It's Disdain Chaos Armor, guys.
It is.
Yeah.
Disdain of the Dragons, Hatred, Warriors of Chaos, and Demonic models, which is actually pretty big. Magic Res 1, Mastery of the Storm Winds, Mastery of the Elemental Winds, Stubborn, Supreme Matriarch of Nangal, Transformation of the Dragons, Will of the Dragons, Wrath of Storm, Storm Dragon, Dragon Storm, Stormy Dragon, Dragony Storm. In addition, depending upon your current form, Miao Ying has the following special rules. She has Rattling Cry when in human form, and then dragon form, Fly 9, Large Target, D6 Stomps, Swift Stride, and Terror. Disdain of the Dragon reigns as thus: any models that wish to issue a challenge whilst within Miao Ying's command range must first take a leadership test using their own leadership. If the enemy model wishes to issue a challenge whilst engaged in combat with Miao Ying, it is also engaged with, it must apply a +1 modifier to the dice roll if she is in human form, or a +2 in her dragon form. If this test is passed, the challenge is issued as normal. If the test is failed, the challenge dies. No, the challenge dies on the enemy's lips, and there is no challenge. Finally, challenges issued by Miao Ying cannot be refused. That is the first page. Peter, would you like to tell us about the second page? And Danny, you got third page.
Well, we should talk a little bit about some of the stuff, right? Because we're just kind of burning through the best unit in this book.
Shush. We do that. We read out the whole thing, then we go back.
Well, no, because it's so much stuff. Disdain of the Dragons is such a powerful rule, and right. I wish more shit had it. Because it's a common complaint on both sides of the aisle, really, on challenges, how
the challenge system is pretty rough this edition.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always been this way, but it just feels bad because monsters characters are so good and blah blah
exactly
blah, right?
Yeah.
But this rule is so fluffy, and it would just make sense for most gigantic things to have this, where some little dude's like, I challenge you, and then just to be like, get fucked, dude. What I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't
have to deal with you.
Honestly, there is some fixes to challenges that would make sense, but also they become more punitive the more you go down. I don't see why a Chaos Lord on Dragon would ever accept a challenge from a Men-at-Arms sergeant. Be like, nah, you're all wheat, you're all chaff to be hewn.
Yeah, like,
but then how bad does that feel for the men at arms player who's like, I can't stop the dragon from going through this unit in 2 turns?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a mitigating element. Like that's what the rule is supposed to be, to help against characters like that.
And
Well,
but I just love this.
Like
I just
when
love the fluff of this. It's so
like
good.
on the other side of the coin, like your dragon has, Plague of Rust on it and needs to go hide for a turn in a unit, or else it's going to get shot to death or something like that. You have the option to do that also. I think this is a fantastic rule, and it makes Miao Ying extremely, extremely freaking potent, even if you didn't have the other slew of ridiculousness that is coming.
Yeah, so if we go to our second page, Miao Ying has a rule called the Mastery of the Storm Winds. And what this lets her do basically is, instead of being able to discard one of her spells for a signature spell, she can actually discard 2 of them for signature spells. On top of that, she knows all of the signature spells found in this book, of which there are 6. Plus, she has her own signature spell, so as a 7th signature spell, the Storm Dragon's Fury, which is essentially it's a better Wind Blast, because it's even though it's cast on a 10+, it's 18-inch range, magic missile that's 2d3 strength 5 hits with an AP of 3 that also have flaming attacks and force the unit to give ground. That's just hers alone.
She knows all of yin and yang.
She knows all of yin. She knows all of yang. So she knows 6 different. Well, she has to pick 2 of them, but she can pick any 2 from all 6.
Yep.
Or she can take the Storm Dragon's Fury, or the signature for whatever lore she picks.
Right.
So like this rule here makes her insanely flexible as a caster.
Correct.
Yes.
Because I will say probably 5 of the 6 signature spells are actively good.
Superb. She really feels like a Slan in how customizable she is magic wise.
Yeah. And then of course, like, Storm Dragon's Fury is just a brutal magic missile.
Straight up, I was of the opinion that the other magic missile you mentioned, is the best magic missile in the game, and this is better than that. So is this the new best magic missile in the game?
I mean, it's hard to say. It's a 10+, so it's not like it's an easy cast. She's only a +4. She can get to a +5 when we go into the army special rules. But it's like a one-time deal, and it's not as good as some other bonuses. But regardless, it's a very powerful magic missile. The fact that she can do this and possibly roll Wind Blast for double the fun is great. This is just an incredible special rule. It makes her, on top of what we'll get to in a second, it just makes her unbelievable.
Yeah.
Her next special rule, Supreme Matriarch of the Nangao. This rule is, if your army includes her, Miao Ying, she must be the army's general. She already had to be anyway because she's leadership 10, but this kind of, if we get more Cathay dragons or stuff that are also leadership 10, she has to be the general. In addition, 0 to 1 units of Jade Warriors and 0 to 1 units of Jade Lancers in her army may be upgraded to be Celestial Dragon Guard for only 1 additional point per model. And you are going to do this.
This is one of the best 1 point per model things we've seen in the game.
Because for 1 point, just 1 point, you get +1 weapon skill, +1 leadership, and get a 6+ ward save.
Absolutely nuts. Like, what did what's his face have to pay for to make Centaur still not good?
2 points a model. 2
points. 2 points makes his Centaurs marginally better.
Freaking rough out there. All right, but wait, there's more.
Yes, because on top of that, she has the Wrath of the Storm ability, which means that on top of giving all of these bonuses to your Jade Warriors and your Jade Lancers, all units of Jade Warriors and Jade Lancers in an army that has Miao Yang as the general gain the Hatred Warriors of Chaos and Demonic Model special rule.
And seeing as one of those is one of the best armies in the game, taken everywhere all the time in great numbers, and the other one is just like, cool, some people play demons, and there are demonic stuff in other armies. That's crazy good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Freaking nuts.
And finally, we get the actual combat profiles for her weapons. So her close combat weapon, when she's both in human form and in dragon form, the Talon of the Storm is a strength user. So in human form, I believe that's strength 5, and in dragon form is strength 4. Strength 7 in dragon form, AP 2, and strikes first. So yes, in dragon's form, she also has the strikes first special rule, which is wild. And then she also has a flame breath, strength 4, AP 1 breath attack if you ever use it.
Yeah. I'm just grateful she had one shit thing on her profile.
Can you imagine if her dragon fire was just like remove
Strength 6, AP 3. gives the unit fights last. Yeah.
But what the thing that like really on top of all this blows her out of the water and just makes her a super fun unit to play is the transformation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Danny, take it away with the third page.
So this is a generic special rule that will probably apply to all Cathay dragons. So it kind of details how you switch between human and dragon form. So Cathay dragon may adopt human and dragon forms. To represent that, you may choose a Cathay dragon's form at the start of the game by simply placing the appropriate model on the battlefield during deployment. That means don't tell your opponent. Have it be a secret.
Yeah.
The best kind of secret.
Be a real shit about this, by the way, guys.
You should.
Every step of the way.
This is a good way for you to display bad sportsmanship.
So straight up,
fuck out of them.
It's
when
that kind of skill expression that you want.
When
to
you
see.
deploy your infantry unit, leave a human-sized hole in the front right when you deploy it, and then put the dragon down.
Right. It's like, gotcha, bitch. All right, so while in their human form, you are heavy infantry, and you follow the rules for a character. When you're in dragon form, you're a force of primordial destruction.
Love it.
And so you follow the rules for the behemoth subtype. And when you're in dragon form, you don't have inspiring presence, even when you're the army general. I don't know why. I think if your leader turns into a dragon, that seems pretty inspiring to me.
I'm more inspired.
Yeah.
What are they? They're from Cathay, and they're like, oh shit, it's a dragon. We've never seen one of those before in the country that's ruled by dragons. Wow, such surprise.
So then it details the death of a dragon. So if a dragon loses their last wound, that wound is lost from both its characteristic profiles. That's so whenever it takes damage. The first time during a game that the dragon is reduced to 0 wounds while in dragon form, they immediately revert to human form and recover D3 lost wounds. Once this occurs, they may not take dragon form again. If a dragon is reduced to 0 wounds while they're in human form, they're removed from play as a casualty.
So up until this point, when I was first reading Mao Ying, I was like, okay, so she's a little bit cheaper than everyone's super dragons, but she's a lot easier to kill than everyone's super dragons. Like she's actually considerably easier to kill. She has no regen. Right? She has only full plate. So she's got 4 up armor, 5 up ward. She's extremely killable. And then this bullshit kicks in. And you're like,
and then transformation. So this is when you turn, in addition to transforming whenever reduced to 0 wound, a Cathay dragon may transform to their human form, to their dragon form, or vice versa during the command subphase of their turn. To do this, simply place the model that represents the form the Cathay dragon is transforming into, so that it is within 6 inches of the model representing the Cathay dragon's current form, not within 1 inch of any friendly models, and not within 3 inches of any enemy models, which is a pretty big area when you're on 150 by 100 millimeter base.
It's pretty big, yeah.
It's large.
So you can go from being in the front rank of a unit to 6 inches adjacent to that unit, but you can't turn from a dragon into a unit and join a unit.
Yeah, and this is before you charge too.
This is before you. Well, so you can't charge if you do this.
You can't charge.
It does say that. Yeah, later on.
Yeah,
you can move, so you can like turn from a dragon into a little person and then jump into a unit if you need to.
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
Or you can turn from the human into the dragon and you just get a 6 inch bigger yeet up the board.
So the other important part of this is once a model representing the Cathay dragon's new form has been placed, remove the model representing its previous form from play. When a Cathay dragon transforms in this way, it immediately recovers D3 lost wounds.
Unnecessary.
Yeah. One thing about like this edition of Warhammer that I think that they've done a very good job of is not having the ability to give monsters their wounds back. So I hope that this is limited to just this interaction and doesn't come back a lot, because I think that just reinforces monsters being better than everyone else. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's kind of a philosophical conversation. The Cathay dragon cannot declare a charge on a turn in which it transforms and counts as having moved for the purposes of shooting, but otherwise can move normally during the remaining moves subphase. And important in italicized text, note that when a Cathayan dragon transforms from their human form to dragon form in this way, they immediately leave any unit they were a part of, and that transforming allows a Cathayan dragon to leave combat.
It's so good. Something that's not mentioned here, but it's part of this whole deal. Because the transformation happens in your command phase, this happens before enchantments and hexes are cast. Mm-hmm. So there are some like really wild things you can do with Miao Ying that can be gotcha moments you want to be careful of to not make your opponent feel too bad. But like an example of something I did in one of my practice games with Miao, I was playing against dwarves. I was in dragon form. I'd just taken a cannonball to the face, taken 3 wounds. My opponent had tried to place their big blob with the king like within range to really threaten me later. But outside of my like hexes and such, I was able to in one turn swap into human form, teleport 6 inches forward, and a little to the side of the unit. So now I was within hex range. Cast a hex on them that's new to this book that gives them random movement D6 instead of a normal movement, so they can't charge. Then cast TMP on a unit of Jade warriors to teleport them to me and hop into the unit, and then double wind blast the unit of dwarves to knock them 4 inches away from me. It's fucking incredible. Like it felt like I was a god.
So
and I healed the 3 wounds I took from the cannon. Like it was.
So I need to ask something, boys. To your knowledge, and I'm doing this on behalf of the community. To your knowledge, is there anywhere in this where it says you can only transform in one direction? Like you can only transform once per command subphase? Because I've read this thing a couple of times and I can't seem to find where it says you can only transform once. Which means you can heal infinitely, if that's the case, and you can constantly move 6 inches, transform, 6 inches, transform, 6 inches, transform, 6 inches, transform until you're exactly where you want. So please don't be that guy, please, because I believe surely this has to be FAQ'd. If I'm being a dum-dum and I haven't found it and it's written here somewhere, but as far as I can tell, you can transform as many times as you like in the command subphase, and therefore infinitely.
You might be right.
Infinitely move your model and regen from 1 wounds back to 4 wounds every turn, no matter what. So please don't do that. And be a reasonable human, because right now, 100%, there's nothing that says you can't do that. You can just infinitely move this model by transforming it, hop, 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 and getting exactly where you want. And that is dumb as shit.
See where the language is implying that you can only do it. It's
absolutely it's implied,
or
correct,
vice versa.
But it does not in any way say once per command subphase you can change from this one to that one, and it needs to, because right now this is the best model in the game until that happens. So let's just all be friendly, nice people and assume you can transform once per command subphase, because it's the dumbest thing imaginable if you can't. And of course, this model's invincible if you can't, because you're just going to... It's invincible. You can't kill it, because every commander subphase, it's back at 4 wounds. And then when you try and kill it,
you can teleport fucking 72 inches.
You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can literally just hop this thing around, moving 6 inches every time until you're in the perfect position behind your opponent's army, going first on turn 1. And
I think we're okay. I think most people would only do
Let's be reasonable. That was Adam's on behalf of the community PSA.
But yes, if you're listening to that and that was your intent, I hate you.
I hate you. We all just know that old wheel charm, the 3 charmed ones, will probably sack tap you with the bricks.
I'm actually pro multiple turning.
Okay, let's move on.
Adam's fun question. Did anyone else notice that, or am I the only person in the freaking world who saw that? And if so, I want some goddamn cred.
Good job, Adam.
Good job, Adam. You did it.
Way to go,
Adam. That just shows you my brain is filthier than the next.
Working for Games Workshop has really changed you as a person.
It has. It's corrupt. Honestly, no. It's made me worse, because if I worked better for them, or if they employed me better, this wouldn't have happened.
Maybe.
All right. Shigengan Lords of the Celestial Host. 220 points for the Lord, 145 for the General. They both come mounted on the Great Longma, and I cannot wait for so many memes to come from this name. You know what they are. Anyway, the Lord is move 6. They're all move 8. Weapon skill 6, skill 3, strength 4, toughness 5, 7 wounds, initiative 6, 4 attacks, leadership 9 on the Lord. Goes down to weapon skill 5 with 6 wounds, initiative 5, and 3 attacks on the General, leadership 8. And the Great Longma is weapon skill 5, strength 5 with 3 attacks at initiative 4. They come with counts as light armor and crown of horns on the Great Spirit Longma. They are level 2s on the Lords and level 1s on the Generals. They can be upgraded, of course, to the level 4s and the level 2s respectively. They know battle magic, elementalism, illusion, and high magic. Can take a Celestial Blade or a Cathayan Lance, both of which are actually not too bad. The Celestial Blade is pretty legit, gives fights first, if I remember correctly. And they can take
strength, yep.
And +1 strength, yeah. And may take a Dragonfly Pistol. Probably don't do that. It can take heavy armor. It can take the Law of Yang or the Law of Yin for free. Just pick whichever one you want. One of them is much more about buffing. One's much more about hexes and damage. Of course, your 100 points of magic items or 50. And of course, you can upgrade, like I said, your magic levels come with Armored Hide 2. So that light armor isn't as relevant because they come with Armored Hide 2. You can go to heavy armor plus Armored Hide 2, so you have 3 up. Celestial Forged Armor, so they come with a 5-up ward built in, which is freaking excellent. Countercharge, Fear, Fly 9, Impact AC D3 +1, Master of the Elemental Winds, Swift Stride, Will of the Dragons, and in combat, the Iron Talons are Strength User, which is 5, AP 1 strikes first, or Crown of Horns, which is Strength User AP 1, Armor Bane 1. Now, so your Lord and level 4s are combined in this, much more akin to, say, a Chaos Sorcerer, where they actually are pretty freaking punchy. Like they've got a Empire General's stat line. These guys are even better than that. They're essentially a High Elf Lord, not like on a Griffin. That's also a level 4. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're amazing. They're just absolutely incredible. If you're not running Miao Ying, you'd probably take 2 of these guys because they have amazing lores. You don't have to buy anything defensive for these guys because they come with a 3+ armor, 5+ ward, because you're always going to take the heavy armor on them. So your 100-point magic allotment is all everything else, enchanted items, magic. You can take the 70, 80 point weapon if you want. And it's not a bad decision, especially in this book because they're stupidly good. It's just such a powerful unit. It does suffer from a couple things. It doesn't have the behemoth rule, so you can't do the little shimmy at the end of your movements, but also it's not a large target. So those big blobs of archers aren't a huge deal to you. It's just for a unit that's going to be fully kitted out, sub 400 points. It's a beast.
Extremely good. Imagine if you could have your Duke, on a Pegasus. That's also a level 4.
I mean, I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's pretty.
I'll exaggerate if I like, but yeah.
Look, he's cool. The only thing from a design perspective that I don't like about this character, because points wise, man, is he unbelievably pointed well, very competitive. You can't take a wizard on foot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. It seems like they should have the option to do that and not be stuck to this character that's on a monster. But what a great monster. Movement 8, even when it's not flying.
Mm-hmm.
Is great. It has countercharge and impact hits. So chaff don't want to fight this thing. And it's a lord too. It's good in combat.
Man, and it's built in 3-up, 5-up. You don't have to invest any more. If you're just taking it taking a skirmishing general, I think is a fantastic idea. 2 of them coming in at under 300 points with they just come with a 3-up, 5-up. Just take the lance, and you've got extremely good units.
Well, they don't have skirmish because they're monsters, so they lose skirmish.
Skirmishes was me talking about a roll on the table rather than a keyword. So,
but what I will say also with this is like there's a magic item in this book that's uncommon that you can take. So you can basically make them a lore master, like the old school lore master, know all the lore, for 30 points. So like an illusion Shugengen Lord is absolutely silly because you can guarantee getting all 6 spells in the lore if you like, and still take a 70-point magic weapon for Doppelganger.
Right,
it's wild.
A good a good item for Doppelganger.
Yeah. Because there's 2 in this book that are incredible, and with one of them you could also get all 6 spells to guarantee you had Doppelganger every time rather than doing lore familiar. It's wild. These guys are very strong. But I do agree with Danny. It does suck that you don't have other wizard options other than this and Miao Yang.
And you level
a lot.
There isn't a unit this guy can join, is there?
No, he's a monster.
There's monster creature. There is no way to give them protection apart from the fact that luckily you're not large target. If this guy was large target, he'd be DOA because he'd be only toughness 5/7 wounds compared to
he's still pretty good. He's get him to a triple save.
You get him 70 points, just get him to a triple save and have a quality weapon in combat. I mean, we'll get to that in a moment. And by a moment, in probably about an hour. But Danny Boy, take it away with the Gate Masters.
Okay, so the Gate Masters, these are like your more fighty characters. They're human. They have human level stats. The Gate Master is weapon skill 7. Ballistic skill 4, strength 4, toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 4, 3 attacks with leadership 9 for 80 points. And the Gatekeeper is -1 weapon skill and -1 wound and -1 attack, -1 leadership. So weapon skill 7, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 8, 45 points. And that's also your only battle standard bearer platform if you want to take one of those. He comes stock standard with hand weapon, heavy armor, and shield. Has the option to take a Celestial Blade, which is +1 strength, -1 AP, armor bane, strikes first.
Yep.
And then the Cathay and Lance, which we'll go over when we talk about the cavalry, I guess. And you can take him on a war horse. So this is the only character that you can join to the rider units. He has special rules. And he can take 50 or 100 points of items, depending on whether or not he's the master or the keeper. Anyway, Harmony of Stone and Steel is a special as well as Will of the Dragon. So that's the random stat adjustment that happens. A unit joined by characters with a special rule may re-roll any failed leadership test when attempting to reform after running down a foe, when attempting to redirect a charge, or when attempting to make a restrain test. It also details the warhorse below him, and it is a barded warhorse and does have countercharge first strike and first charge as well.
And that's really important because the other Cathayan warhorses in the book that the Lancers have don't have first charge. Correct. So it's a way to give that unit first charge. If you're going to go like on the Jade Lancer side of things, taking like a Gatekeeper or a Gate Master.
I think these guys are pretty dang cheap for what you get, for the stat line you get. I think it's very, very respectable. Weapon skill 7 for 80 points is a pretty rare price point. Or weapon skill 6 with 2 wounds, 2 attacks for 45. It's quite attractive as well. And the fact that for 45 points, you could just take. You guys remember when we used to have the Bretonnian Lancers with the first rank of just Paladins?
Yep.
Yeah.
Technically, you could do that. I'm not saying you should, but it's an option.
We do have. There's rules that you can't take like a full rank of characters.
Of course, but so I wasn't suggesting a full rank because like you said, you're not going to be running into these Jade Lions and ranks of three guy Bretonnian Lancers. That's not a thing either. But if just spamming out a couple of these guys on the cheap, like I'm going back to this again. Like same as the Shugengen General for 145. These guys for 45 or 80, they're really attractive. Like quite attractive.
And like 6 points for that Celestial Blade, like I mean, getting strikes first, +1 AP1 is not bad for 6 points. It's actually like
a Sword of Might.
Correct. At above average. Sword of Might. Holy crap! It is.
It's not just a Sword of Might. It's a Sword of Might combined with a Sword of Swiftness.
Strike. Yeah, Swiftness.
Right.
Like I said, they're like one above the going rate on weapon skill versus their contemporaries. So I
guess it's just not magic attacks. Oh, and it doesn't have armor bane.
Those sons of bitches.
Ruins. Absolutely ruined. All right,
Amazing.
Magisters, PD baby.
Magisters, I love these guys. I wish them well because they're great. The Lord Magistrate and the Strategist. These guys are movement 4. The Lord Magistrate is weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 4, strength 3, tough 3, wounds 3, initiative 4, 2 attacks, leadership 9. Only 65 points. The Strategist is 1 less weapon skill, 1 less attack, 1 less initiative, 1 less wound. For 40. They can take gunpowder bombs or dragonfire bombs, which are just like 9-inch grenades that when you hit with them, they do D3 hits instead of just 1. The gunpowder bombs are, I think, strength 3, AP 1. The dragonfire are strength 4. And I believe flaming. The big thing here is both of these guys can be mounted on the Sky Lantern, the hot air balloon, which gives them an additional 7 wounds, making a Lord Magistrate a 10 wound guy for minimum 200 points, which is wild. 9 wounds for the Strategist. Lord Magistrate can take 100 points of magic items. Strategist can take 50 points of magic items. They have 3 special rules. A Grand Strategist, which we'll cover in a second. Harmony of Stone and Steel, which is the same rule that the Gate Masters have.
Yep.
And then Will of the Dragons, which once again is they are affected by the winds of yin and yang, which we'll cover at the end. So Grand Strategist, unless this character is fleeing, all friendly units within their command range, except your general, can choose to use this character's leadership instead of their own. In addition, once per turn, a friendly unit that wins a round of combat, whilst within this character's command range, may choose to fall back in good order rather than make a follow-up or pursue move.
Hot.
This can lead to some really cool combos. Another thing to note, if you run this guy on a Sky Lantern, it also improves their command range to 12 inches, even if they are not your general or your BSB or anything like that.
Even if they are your general.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
So this is great.
I have some feelings about this guy. Like 40 points for a leadership 9 aura to essentially just upgrade a lantern to have way better leadership, a couple of better shots, and be a leadership 9 aura, 12-inch range.
2 extra wounds.
Yeah, with a bunch of exactly right. Freaking great. Freaking amazing.
Yeah. And there's also some like incredible enchanted items and talismans in this book that you can throw on one of these guys in a balloon, and they make perfect delivery systems. So they're just awesome. And like this is great screen protection as well, right? Because you're not using your general's inspiring presence, you're using this guy's. Like there's a lot to love. Right. Also, if you're running that Cathay and dragon and you turn into a dragon and you're worried about your inspiring presence, don't. You got one of these guys hanging out.
Well, you never need to worry about your inspiring presence because you can just move 6 inches until you get your leadership in range.
You fuck. Okay.
Super Bowl shuffle yourself into the right.
Yeah. Man, goddamn. All right. I love the Magistrates. I think they're fan-freaking-tastic. They're my favorite character in this book by far. I just think they're the most fun.
More than the Shugenja Lord?
More than the dude on the dragon unicorn?
Yeah. I like the Lantern. Lantern Lords is freaking, I think is absolutely sick. Okay. And it's like one of the most unique things that has happened to air combat since Kharadron Overlords.
I guess
you're not wrong.
All right, Jade Warriors are up next. This is your rank and file troop. They are 8 points per model with movement 4, weapon skill 4, weapon skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, leadership 8. They are pretty much a human with one better. No, they're a human. They're a human. They come with hand weapons and heavy armor as stock, and you can choose to take halberds or shields in addition for free. Pick your poison. 6-point unit upgrades. The officer, so the Sarge, can take 25 points of stuff. And then 1 unit per 1,000 can have drilled stubborn for 2 points, drilled for 1 point rather, and a magic standard worth up to 50. Special rules, close order, defensive stance, detachment, regimental unit, and will of the dragons. Defensive stance is unless it's charged during the preceding movement phase or counts as having charged. This turn, a unit with a special rule may reroll any arming saving throws of a natural 1 made during the combat phase. These guys are not, as far as rank and file, like core point troop goes, these guys are not bad. I think they're drastically overshadowed by the Lancers, but if anything was to happen to make rank and file a lot more attractive, these guys would be up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say
Heavy
they're
armor and shields.
Heavy
Great
armor
combo.
shield, or halberds for 8 points, pretty
Sure.
good. And with
Yeah.
reroll ones for saves, totally fine. Plus, when we get to Will of the Dragons, you'll see that can actually be a huge modifier on these guys as well.
I think that's the big thing. I've seen a lot of chatter because like this book leaked like 5 minutes before we recorded this about how bad these guys might be for their points. And I've talked to other influencers that had this book that didn't feel they were that great. And like in practice, I have found these guys to be awesome. They especially, well, I shouldn't say that. They're awesome if you're running Miao Ying because that 1 point bonus really puts them over the top.
Yeah.
They become an awesome anvil unit. Having like the 25-point magic banner, there's whether you give them war banner or there's a really good shield wall banner in this book as well. You can make them quite the anvil. Also, they're heavy infantry, so you can put your guys in ranks of 4 to still get your rank bonuses because you're not here to kill people. You're just here to live a little bit longer, right? So it's pretty easy to just take like 16 to 18 of these dudes, and they'll stick around for a long time.
Yeah. Well, you are going to be taking these guys because you can take, unless you are taking exactly 500 points of freaking Lancers when you get your 1 unit of Lancers, which is a build I'm going to talk about in part 2 because I think that is a thing.
Oh, there is for sure.
You are going to be taking some of these guys, and a single unit, like you said, of like 16 to 18, I think, is totally acceptable. You have drilled and stubborn, like drilled, stubborn, and we have it. Like I said, there's a shield wall banner. These guys stick around, and they're above going rate for both durability due to the reroll ones. You can have a 4-up rerolling ones, armor save wise, and I don't think you'd give them the halberds. I think you keep it shield, sword, and board.
Yeah.
Because I just don't. You got way better damage dealers than these dudes, and even if you try making damage dealers, they still ain't gonna do it.
No.
All right, Peter, you got the Jade Lancers.
Jade Lancers. Okay, so these guys are actually kind of cool.
They're great.
So they're movement 7, they're heavy cavalry, weapon skill 4. So they have the same stat line as the warriors. They're just on horses. Weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3, strength 3, tough 3, 1 wound, 3 initiative, etc., etc. Leadership 8, 20 points per model base. Minimum unit size 5+. The Lancers themselves can come with hand weapons and Cathayan lances, heavy armor, and shields. The Cathayan warhorses are barded warhorses, so they have barding. So you've got a 3+ armor save base. In addition, 6 points gets you your officer, your standard bearer, and musician. You can have up to 50 points for a magic standard, which is great. There's some really great 50-point and below magic standards in this book and elsewhere. The officer can also take 50 points in magic items, which is absolutely spectacular in this book. In addition, 0 to 1 units per 1,000 points may have any of these following rules: ambushers, drilled, or stubborn. And this, I will say right now, because of the Sky Lanterns, this book has the most reliable ambushers in the entire game. You 100% can pick when they come out if you want to build around it. For special rules, you have Cathayan Cataphracts, Close Order, Countercharge, which is, of course, great, Horde, which is very unique for a cavalry unit, Swift Stride, and Will of the Dragons. That Cathayan Cataphract special rule is that as long as the unit has the majority of their models with the special rule, whenever they make a follow-up move, they still count as charging during the next turn.
Amazing.
So if your opponent even just gives ground, you're still getting to use those Cathayan lances. The lances themselves are just strength +1, AP 1, armor bane 1,
extra rank, and
fight in extra ranks.
Yeah, that's why these guys have so many reasons to run a big unit of them. This is the cav unit of all the cav units in the game that I've seen where I'd be like, I would really like to run 10+ of these dudes in a unit. Having Horde on them is just so freaking rare. It's so very rare to have Horde on. Actually, I can't think of another cav unit that has Horde. Anybody else think of one?
Yeah, Skeleton Horseman from Tomb Kings.
Never heard of him. You just made that up.
You're right. That's true.
You're right. He did. Yeah. But yeah, these guys are great. The beautiful thing about them, like especially if you give them drilled, because you're gonna whether you give them ambushers or not, it's up to you. But with drilled, because they have fighting extra ranks, like unlike a lot of other cavalry units, where to get the most out of your attacks, you want to run them wide, and then you end up with like these shitty wheels that fuck up your charges.
Yeah.
You don't have to with these guys. You can run them like 4 wide, and you're still going to get 8 attacks in on the charge, right? Sure, they're only strength 4 versus like strength 5 AP2 on a lance. But like you just get a lot more value out of it. And then, you know, of course, if you're running Miao Ying, all of a sudden now they're base weapon skill 5, potentially up to weapon skill 7, because there's a lot of weapon skill buffs in this book.
With a ward save, man.
With a ward save. They're quite good. They aren't a unit that generally like breaks another unit in one round of combat, but they're very good at dragging stuff out and just like mulching through something over time.
Like you mentioned before, the shield wall banner. So you have a horde drilled, shield walled, stubborn, like cavalry unit. Like it's fit. That's a fit for all occasions cavalry unit. And with countercharge, so countercharge as well. It's a superb unit.
Yeah, and then you put like a gatekeeper in it, so you get first charge with them. Correct. And you're like you're doing good stuff. You have all the good word to make good unit go do things. Like you said, they're not going to smash because like this is what I think. They didn't have no like baseline cavalry unit without like some super characters in it goes through bully units that hard unless you're Blood Knights and checks notes chosen Chaos Knights. Every other cav unit, apart from Peg Knights, don't count either. You know, they don't go straight through other units very reliably. These guys don't either, but they anvil like a freaking unit of Ironbreakers, whilst also being a cav unit. So they got the duality of like pressuring your non-super units, like your things that aren't Blood Knights and stuff can't actually fight these guys. And then if you do go into the Blood Knights, stubborn shield wall drilled. We're just going to keep you dancing around and with great leadership for as long as we need to. They're really, really well rounded. All right, sorry, I love them.
This is my like legitimately my favorite cav unit in the game right now.
No, they're great, dude. And that 50-point magic item, they deliver just like the Sky Lanterns. They're great at delivering like a couple of the magic items in this book. So they're just superb all around.
Danny boy, you got the Sky Lantern, mate.
Oh my god, the balloon! It's
another 2-pager.
It's beautiful. So the balloon rocks with movement 1. Now, why this unit has movement 1?
It's a balloon. Have you ever been like outpaced by a balloon? It should have stayed movement 1.
Yeah, but like, do you think there was a guy like? You think the guys are just like pulling the basket along the ground if they're marching like 2 inches? Like they're just like, oh god, this thing's so.
Well,
anyway,
that would be movement 4 if it was, but yeah.
It's 135 points. Now this thing rocks strength 5, toughness 5, 7 wounds. It comes complete with 4 lantern gunners and 1 commander who's a champion. Now the lantern gunners are ballistic skill 4, the champion's 5, strength 3, initiative 3, 1 attack, 2 attacks on the champion, leadership 8. They come with weapon skill 3 as well. This comes on, it's a heavy chariot and comes on 100 by 100 millimeter base. It's a 4+ armor save. The equipment, the guys only have hand weapons to start, but they do get free guns. So you can either take them with Sky Lantern crane guns or for free, or iron hail guns and gunpowder bombs, or you can spend 20 points to get iron hail guns and dragon fire bombs for 20 points. You can also take Sky Lantern bombs, so you can take more bombs for another 15 points. It has many rules. It has close order. It has the disengage special rule, which we'll talk about. Eye of the Dragon, another special rule. Feigned flight, fire and flee, fly 8. Heavenly Beacon, another special rule. By the way, this thing has 2 pages of rules, so by Adam's criteria, it's already incredibly powerful. Impact hits D3 +1 just for the Sky Lantern.
Not the guy inside.
Not the guys inside. Don't get tricky here, guys. It's just D3 +1, strength 5 impact hits at AP2.
Just
from a balloon. From a balloon.
I'm
fast balloon.
I'm shitty at this. I'm shitty at all of this.
It has large target, reserve move also. Don't forget that. Scouts and unbreakable.
Unfreaking breakable.
So
I'm a little bit
stupid.
I'm pretty incredulous at the rules they decided to give to the balloon. But continue, Danny. There's more.
So Eye of the Dragon Friendly models whose weapons shoot using the bombardment special rule can shoot using this model's line of sight rather than their own. So the rocket launchers, which we'll get to later. Disengage. Should this model lose a round of combat, it may attempt to disengage by making a leadership test. If you pass, this model may fall back in good order rather than give ground. Enemy units can follow up as if this model had given ground, moving 2 inches directly towards this model, but cannot pursue it. However, if this test has failed, the model is unable to disengage and must give ground as normal. In addition, should it win a round of combat, you can choose to fall back in good order rather than making a follow-up or pursuit move. This rule is
Incredible.
Unbelievably good. Like, you can only fight this thing one round of combat at a time, because you're not going to get follow-up rounds unless it fails its leadership, I don't know, probably 9 or 10 check. Since it's unbreakable, it's not like it's going to take panic tests. It's impossible to lock down in combat. It'll fly away during the next turn because it can, fly 16 inches or move 8, turn, then move another 8, and then turn because it's a chariot, so it is lumbering. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
it's
wonderful. Also, don't forget all the bombs and guns and stuff that it has, except for the Sky Lantern crane guns. Pro tip, don't take the Sky Lantern crane guns. I think they're bad. The Iron Hail guns are all move and shoot.
Yep.
So it can march 16 inches and still fire all of its guns.
Yep. And drop its bombs.
Don't forget that. And you don't even have to get that close to drop bombs.
No. You don't have to fly over like every other unit. You have to fly within 6 inches at some point during your movement.
And anyway. it's not like these guys are expensive as well. 135 for.
Well, they're expensive money wise. $200 to buy one.
You could literally go and get a decent car, or you could have 3 Skylands.
Adam, and the cost to repair these guys if you travel with them is.
Oh my god! Yeah. Oh my god! Like.
The model itself is.
All right, sorry guys, we're only through half of the special rules. We gotta keep moving. So we have Heavenly Beacon. Unless this model is fleeing, friendly units within 12 may re-roll failed panic or rally tests. In addition, while this model is on the battlefield, unless it's fleeing, you may apply a +1 or -1 modifier to the result when rolling to determine if a friendly unit with the Ambusher special rule is currently held in reserve will arrive this turn as reinforcements or is delayed. So, and then finally, because there's one other rule, a Lord Magistrate or Strategist mounted on a Sky Lantern has a command range of 12 inches, which we talked about a little bit earlier. So multiple balloons mean multiple bonuses or subtractions to the Ambusher test.
Correct.
So you basically get to pick when your guys are going to come on the table. Yeah. That's
essentially cool. If you've got 2 lanterns, you can just pick. You just pick whenever you want them. You just pick whenever you want your unit. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, so then we have Sky Lantern bombs. These are a special upgrade. Do you guys think you always buy these?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do. Dude, the two option is the best option. It's so funny when you roll your D6. Well, sorry, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
It's good. It's good. All right, so if you have Sky Lantern bombs, you can perform a bombing run attack against a single enemy unit not engaged in combat. To do so, this model must move within 6 of the unit it wishes to bomb during the remaining move subphase. Once this model's movement is complete, roll on the bombing run table below. If you roll 1, the release mechanism jams a bomb, explodes prematurely. The blimp takes a single wound. Okay. Roll a 2. A solitary bomb is released but fails to detonate before landing squarely upon the head of an unfortunate enemy. The enemy unit loses a single wound. No saves.
This is the most deadly weapon in the game. It's just the bomb that doesn't work.
Oh, you got you. Yeah. The 2, the one where nothing was supposed to happen. Your 3 save dragon just lost a wound. Suck it.
You guys, they should be loading up these things with just metal bricks.
Yeah, 100%. I do genuinely. You know when Marv throws the brick off the top in Home Alone 2, it's like eat shit, kid, and he throws the brick at the kid, and that's what's in my head. And the dragon just cops a brick to the eyeball and bang, loses the wound automatically. But wait, there's more.
There's more. 4 to 5 is you place a 5-inch blast template, so over the center of the unit, scatters D6 inches. You have the chance to get hit with Strength 5 AP2, or 5 to 6 is bombs away. A cluster of bombs is released. You get 2 3-inch blast templates. Same thing, both of them scatter. Any model whose base relies underneath the template's final position risks strength 5 -2. Strength 5 -2 is really good.
It's very good. Do you guys, what's your feeling? Is the big blast better than the little mathematically?
It's
I think
hard
I like
to
the littles
say.
better.
It's hard to say. I feel like 2 littles is only slightly better than 1 big though.
Yeah,
I think
it's
you're
not
right.
huge.
Yeah, but you got 1 scatter risk rather than 2 scatter risk. Like on a 2 scatter risk, you're more likely one of them actually sticks around where you want it. Whereas one level 5 is harder for it to go off target, but if it does, you get nothing. But yeah, anyway, I feel like a 3+ you're just probably fine with. But then you just like, give me the 2s. I want all the 2s. Just. Anyway, tell us about the guns because this thing is still going somehow.
Oh yeah. So there's 2 other things. So Sky Lantern crane guns, the things I told you not to get. Their range is 36, strength 6, AP -2, armor bane 2, and cumbersome. That's a great profile, right? Like, especially these guys are ballistic skill 4, so you're hitting on 4s a lot of the time. You get to see whatever you want because you're a large target. It's a wonderful.
It's 5 shots.
Yeah, 5 shots at that. 1 at BS 5 and 2 and 4 at BS 4.
That is not bad.
No. Or you can pick the man's gun, the Iron Hail gun, which is 12-inch range, strength 3 -3. It has move and shoot, so you can march and fire with it, and multiple shots D3. But you don't take any penalties, any negative modifiers for firing at long range, or using multiple shots, or while making stand and shoot charge reactions.
So you just always pretty much hit into BS unless they're in cover or obscured in some way, pretty much. So you said AP3 though? It's AP1.
It's AP1, strength 3, AP1.
Yeah,
but it's D3. But it's D3 shots per guy, so it's 5 D3 strength 3 hits, and this is in addition to having bombs. Like there's also gunpowder bombs or dragonfire bombs that you can put on this thing.
And I mean, you could also be taking a character and adding another dude on this, another goober for another shot.
Bomb.
Yeah. This
bombs away, baby.
I'm incredulous at how well rounded they made the Sky Lantern. If straight up, this thing shouldn't be allowed to charge. It's a freaking balloon. It's a goddamn balloon. How is it charging, let alone having impact hits? So much of my disbelief has been suspended. There's no coming back.
So, like, for me, I feel like this is a unit that they play tested, and then finally one of them went up against Bretonia and was like, oh, this thing does nothing. And so they're like, we need to give it an extra page of rules because whenever you play Bretonia, this thing is a pile of dog shit. And this is what you got. The only reason why I would ever consider running the Sky Lantern crane guns is if like you only ever play Bretonia. Like that's the one time because then at least you just like, oh, I can't move. Yeah. I'm gonna kill a Pegasus Knight or something a turn, which isn't as good, but that would be it. But like Danny said, it's not the man's gun. You shouldn't do it.
I just love that you can get 3 of these for under 500 points. It's buck wild.
Mm-hmm. It is wild.
Mm-hmm. I think they are. It's very obvious to me. G-Dub would really like you to buy little lanterns. They freaking just want those lanterns off the shelves. It's just too many. Their shelves are too packed with lanterns. They want them gone.
You can run like 7 or 8 of these in a list.
Oh, really?
Because of characters.
Yeah. Yep.
That's true.
They are super pushed, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Super pushed. All right. Next up, we have the Cathayan Sentinel. Once again, 2-page spread. Holy crap. Were they just of the opinion that Cathay has like not many units, so every unit has to be able to do everything? Yes. They were actually. This guy comes in at 230 points base, move 6, weapon skill 5, ability skill 1, but doesn't shoot anything. Who cares? Strength 6, toughness 6, wounds, initiative 3, 3 attacks, leadership 10. It is a behemoth, of course. Comes with a hand weapon, great blade, and terracotta armor, counts as heavy armor. And then you can upgrade it to be either a terracotta sentinel, which is free, jade sentinel for 20, obsidian for 25, granite for 35, or warpstone for 40. They come with special rules of close order, immune to psychology, implacable, large target, D3 +1 stomps, terror, timber, and once again, another unit in this army with unbreakable. Implacable is once per game. During a turn in which it was charged, this model may choose to not give ground should it lose a round of combat. In addition, once per game, this model may re-roll its charge roll. So you get super unbreakable for one turn of the game, where you won't even give ground if you don't want to. Or you can use it to re-roll charge roll if you're trying to be more offensive with it. In combat, has 2 profiles, which are both very good. The first one is Scything Blow, which is strength user, that being 6 at AP 2, with Armor Bane 1, extra attacks 2d3. So on average, you're getting +4 and strikes last. But you were going, if you do roll that average of 4 on 2d3, you'll be having 7 attacks, and then you have the stomps to follow. Instead, if you want to do the Deadly Strike and pretend that you're a Necrosphinx, you'll have Killing Blow, Monster Slayer, and Multiple Wounds D3 with Strength +1 AP4. So Strength 7 AP4 with 3 attacks at that beautiful Monster Slayer Killing Blow. I don't know why you need Multiple Wounds D3 if you have Monster Slayer Killing Blow, but they didn't want to leave anything to chance.
Well, no, it's so that like
6, man.
Yeah,
I know.
It's really good.
As if it needed more of a buy-in.
No, I think. I'll be honest. I think it did. I think this unit is overcosted.
This was the first one
worth it.
This was the first one I looked at where I was like, I don't know if I take these guys. But let's go through the options. So Terracotta Sentinel, the baseline one for the 230, comes in with 6+ regen. That's just what you get. The Jade Sentinel knows a single spell chosen by the controlling player before generated as usual for either battle magic or elementalism, and it may cast this bound spell at power level 3, which I actually think is my favorite one. Obsidian Sentinel is magic res 2. In addition, any enemy wizard wishes to cast a spell while within 12 or one or more of these sentinels must first take a leadership test. If the test is failed, they cast at a -3. Even if the test is passed, they cast at a -1 whilst within 12. Not bad. Granite Sentinel is improve its armor value by 1, so it goes up to a 4-up save because it's just got heavy armor, if I remember. In addition, they're immune to multiple wounds X, so it can go in there and hold up that Ogre Blade Dragon. If the Granite Sentinel suffers any unsaved wounds, they just lose a single wound. And then lastly, the Warpstone Sentinel has magical attacks. In addition, whilst in base contact with one or more Warpstone Sentinels, they suffer -1 to toughness. So enemy models suffer -1 toughness. I personally like Jade Sentinel, my fave, but even then, I'm not sure in the armies that I've conjured, I don't take any of these dudes. What do you guys reckon?
I think you can make a good army with Jade Sentinels. Like if you're building for a magic build, like this giving you a pick. I mean, we just did this, guys. Like with Pillar of Fire and those silly Wood Elf Riders.
Sisters of the Thorn,
Sisters of the Thorn, it's dumb. Hopefully this will get changed to a random thing. Then it won't be taken.
Because you just take 3 Windblast Jade Sentinels and
or the
Plague of Rust or
what? Or 3 Pillars of Fire.
And like power level 3 is a really good power level.
It's one more than it should be, to be honest. That's why Jade's the cheapest upgrade. It's 20 points, so 250 for this guy. He's not exactly cheap, but he's pretty good.
This is what I'll say. So Granite is the best one, in my opinion. Because the thing about the Jade is you go into a lot of matchups against like cannons or poison spam or like an Ogre Blade Dragon, and because it's just a movement 6, no swift stride behemoth that's 100 by 150 mils, like it's not a small behemoth either. They just like pick you out, like you're the biggest fucking thing in the world, and they just blow you to pieces. But at least with Granite, ignoring multiple wounds means those cannons don't do anything to you. The Ogre Blade guy is less of a problem. Like you can survive a round of combat into an Ogre Blade character. And then you might get that 6 off with your Monster Slayer and dome them. So I've tried a single Granite in the list and thought it was fine. The Jade Sentinels are great until you go up against like an enemy that's actually got good magic and something like into Warriors of Chaos, it's way less good because now you're like, okay, well I got to take the ward save instead, right? Like instead of something good, just to try to survive. I don't think it's necessarily bad. The other thing about the Jade Sentinel that's good is it gets you to 250, so you can actually run 2 of them if you want to in your rare slot. I think if we get like a really cool FAQ and General's Handbook change that makes poison less powerful, then maybe you start seeing more of these. But I think at first they're just like a more for funsy unit than anything else, in my opinion. And I would love to be wrong because they look cool. And they put out a lot of attacks. So anyway,
That's true.
that's my thoughts.
I like those thoughts, Peter. I think you're right.
Aw, thank you, Danny. I think
But
Adam's dead.
I do wonder, like,
I had to step away to make that phone call, you goons. You know I had to do this. I said so.
I thought you were gooning.
I
What were you
had-
trying
I
to
had-
say, Danny?
I had a stroke.
it got real quiet. That's what we assume.
All right. Moving on, you goobers.
Danny had a thought. Danny, what's your thought?
Oh no, I just think I think it's pretty solidly priced for a monster. For like what it is, if you just take it at face value, you just take it with a 6-up regen, and you look at other monsters, weapon skill 5 is a really great stat.
Mm-hmm.
On a monster, I think it can switch hit pretty well. Whether it needs to like do its scything attacks or big hits, I think it's good for that. Unless the monster has like some kind of crazy roll, like we compare this to the Merworm.
Oh yeah,
wow.
it's better than a
Yeah.
Merworm.
Yeah.
I think I when I was playing with it, I often compared it to the Necrosphinx, which I
Yeah.
feel is very close to it, and that's why I kind of feel like it could be 20 points cheaper or 30 points cheaper, and I would feel better.
How many points is the Necro?
Necro's 195, but so it's
yikes.
one less strength, but it has fly.
Fly, dude.
But it is also unstable instead of unbreakable. Like there's a lot of hit or miss stuff, but they're like very similar. I feel like the Sentinel could probably be a little bit more expensive. But like, yeah. Anyway, it's still a great model. If you run one in a list, like I don't think you're making your list awful by any means. It's just like the game is not very kind to monsters that don't have multiple saves. So
I agree. Well, monsters that are more than likely 250 plus.
yeah.
If you can get a decent monster for 200, you're pretty laughing. Like who cares for 200 points if they want to waste their cannons and dragons on it? That's kind of okay. If it takes a turn or two away from other stuff, it's kind of a fair trade. But this guy is like 250 because I don't think anybody's taking a terracotta version of this dude. It's going to be upgraded in some manner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So 250 at the cheapest, and that's just a bit exy for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go, Danny baby, rocket battery.
Sure, Adam. You know that I love rockets, right?
I do.
That's red rockets.
I always
Sure.
yeah, you know me, I'm an animal lover.
No.
The Fire Rain rocket battery has standard human strength and toughness. So it's toughness 6 with 3 wounds. It's 130 points. You get 3 crew. They come standard with light armor. They have one option to take an ogre loader. So the Fire Rain rocket battery can fire 2 different types of rockets. It can fire Bastion rockets or the rocket battery. So Bastion rockets are 12 to 48 inch range. Strength 4 minus 1 AP, and then under the hull is strength 5 minus 3 AP. It has the Armor Vein 1 special rules: bombardment, cumbersome, move or shoot, and multiple wounds D6. And it fires like a stone thrower using the bombardment special rule, a 3-inch blast template, and the black powder misfire table. Multiple wounds D6 only applies to a single model whose base lies underneath the central hull of the blast template. That's fine. Then it has the other rocket battery, same range, 12 to 48, strength 3 minus 1 AP, or strength 4 minus 1 AP for under the central hull. Has the Armor Bane 1, bombardment, cumbersome, flaming attacks, mover, shoot, and wailing spirit special rule. Note that this weapon shoots like a stone thrower using bombardment and a 5-inch blast template and the blackfire misfire table. The wailing spirits special rule is any unit that suffers 1 or more unsaved wounds from this weapon must make a panic test as if it had taken heavy casualties.
So same as Skulls of the Foe, but Skulls of the Foe's at -1, I believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Still not bad. What do you guys think of him?
I think when you compare this head to head with the cannon, it's hard to make a case for this.
I would never take these. Fair enough.
If
But
infantry
Peter,
become like a big deal,
yeah,
maybe.
Well, if infantry become good, if some document should come out in the future making infantry good, we're all going to have to go back and reassess these.
I know
timed
everything
profiles.
is going to be different. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the cool thing with these guys is when you combo them with the Sky Lanterns, because Sky Lanterns are chariots and they give so they have 360 vision.
Mhm.
So you now have a war machine that's got 360 bombardment vision. That's also large target. So that's pretty sweet. But yeah, like in practice, even with the Ogre Loader, which we'll cover later, I didn't find like they did a whole lot. Sometimes you get that multiple wounds D6 off, and it's awesome. The only problem is it's strength 5, so it feels a little disappointing. You wish it was strength 6 at the very least.
Correct.
And then I think I'd be a bigger fan.
Well, tell us about the much better Grand Cannon, which might be the new best cannon in the game.
It's pretty good. That's for sure. So Grand Cannon, the Cathayan Grand Cannon, is toughness 6, 3 wound, 130 point cannon. It's got its regular crew of 3, although you can upgrade the crew to bring in an Ogre Loader, which we'll get to later. It's 48 inch range, which is a little shorter, I think, than the others. Strength 10, AP 3, Armor Bane 3. It's got the cannon fire rule. It's got cumbersome, move or shoot, multiple wounds, D3 plus 1, so it's the good kind, and thunderous impact. Thunderous impact. This is basically giving you the same rule that the Tremor cannon has, the Quake, the Dreadquake has for Chaos Dwarves. So until your next start of turn subphase, any unit, friend or foe, that was within 2d6 inches of the strike point when you shoot your Cathayan Grand Cannon suffers -1 to its movement characteristic and loses Swift Stride for the turn.
This is a bonkers
really
thing to have on a cannon. So I love my Chaos Dwarves, but I have significant issues in trying to apply that debuff in a meaningful way on a scatter, on a scatter dice. This is applying this buff essentially on a laser pointer. You could have so much more control about where this debuff lands because it's on a cannon shot rather than a bombardment shot. And turning off Swift Stride is freaking ace. And it's everything within 2d6. It's not like one thing that was like hit by the cannon. You don't even shoot this thing at your opponent's army. You draw a line along your opponent's army and try and debuff as much stuff as you can. Like imagine this just hitting a row of like Peg Knights or a row of whatever, something mounted. There's so much mounted in the game. Everything's freaking mounted in the game. This is amazing. I like it. Fantastic.
Yeah. And it's like 100 and some odd points cheaper than the Dreadquake. So
that's the other thing. Yeah.
It's great.
I'm not writing a Cathayan list without 2 of these in it.
Oh yeah,
they're great. They're
very
good.
4 or 5, I think.
I think there's a hilarious world where you take. I don't think you can take 6 to 2,000 points. Like you have to take 5 with the Ogre Loaders at least.
Yeah.
But because 5 with Ogre Loaders having a go turn where you take 10 cannon shots.
Yeah.
Is wild because
exactly right.
Someone talk about ogres.
Let's do it. Ogre Loader. This is an Ogre Bull. With a little bit less movement. So you have the movement of a human. They're 35 points for the upgrade. Movement 4, weapon skill 3, strength and toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 2, 3 attacks, leadership 8. Comes with hand weapon and light armor, who gives a diddly crap, but may take gunpowder bombs for 8 points. And enough for everyone in mercenary crew are the special rules. Enough for everyone. If an Ogre Loader is equipped with gunpowder bombs, the crew for the war machine are also equipped with gunpowder bombs. But the mercenary crew is the whole buy-in here. In fact, the whole 35 points, if this is all you got, you would do it. An Ogre Loader is a special type of character that can be taken as an upgrader to accompany a war machine. During deployment, you place it there with your selected war machine, can't leave for any reason. The crew of any war machine joined by an Ogre Loader gets +1 leadership. +1 to its movement characteristic rather, and stubborn, not leadership. In addition, once per game, a fire, rain, rocket battery, or Cathayan Grand Cannon that includes an Ogre Loader may fire twice, or re-roll a single artillery dice. So, of course, you roll your first one, and if you bung the roll, you can choose to re-roll the artillery dice, or if you get a clean shot, you just choose to shoot it again. And like you said, 10-shot turn 1 on a dragon of choice, like, wow, that is such a threat that is just going to have to be respected. Or if you want, you have 5 cannons, you can just keep your opponent's army completely debuffed from Swift Stride and -1 move. on like, so you can just apply that buff everywhere. So debuff everywhere. I think they are superb. They do blow out the cost of the war machines to 165 a piece, which does get on the pricey side once you start trying to go for the fourth and fifth ones.
Do you think you buy bombs?
I'm 50-50.
I don't, but yeah.
I don't know. You get them for everyone, though.
I know. That's the thing. And they stand and shoot because I believe they have quick shot.
They do have move and shoot, quick shot, armor bane 1. They are range 9, strength 3. And if the hit roll is successful, they score D3 hits to any target. So they defend themselves from light cav like really well.
Yeah.
The ogre already defends you from light cav really well, was my thoughts.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. But I like it is just like that extra little oomph. I think it just depends. If you've got 8 extra points in your list, this is where I would put it, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it is like a really good defense.
And I know too, the ogre doesn't make it more tough from shooting.
No, unfortunately, no. Just in combat.
Yeah.
He gives you an extra 3 wounds in combat.
Yep. But hey, hilariously, if they do shoot and kill the cannon, the ogre just walks off and goes do something else, right? Because he's just a character in the unit. Is that correct? Yeah, infantry character.
I guess so. Yeah.
And that's what another thing he does. He can declare challenges.
Yeah, correct. Which is hilarious, and gives the unit stubborn as well, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, it's great.
I think he's excellent. I wish I had an ogre in my army that did such things. In my ogre army, my army of ogres. I wish I had a 35-point freaking character that did as much for this guy did. All right, we are into the magical items. Danny boy, take it away. We're going to hit Danny, Peter, then myself as the rhythm.
God, what a crazy first item!
It's so good.
Wow.
All right, so the first item is the Monkey King's Wisdom, which is a 75-point magic melee weapon. It's strength 10, AP -4. Magic attacks, multiple wounds D3, requires 2 hands, and strikes last.
Piss off.
What's the tenderizer again?
Yeah, dude. Never have I heard of that tenderizer. Our tenderizer has +1 attack, to be fair.
That's good.
Makes it comparable to this. Yeah. But it's not strength 10, baby. Oh, boy.
Is it AP4?
No.
Yeah. That's wild.
It's great.
So wild.
It's and like, look, dude, you can take it on a like the Shugenjin Lord with illusion if you want to be extra ballsy, or you can take the next item, which is probably better for him.
It is, but I will say I did run the Monkey King's Wisdom into ogres for a game, and my Doppelshug killed 7 iron guts in 1 activation, I think it was. So anyway,
it's a good guys.
Jade Blade of the Great Fleet, 70 points. The Jade Blade is an ancient weapon fashioned from the fang of a Lumbrian sea monster. Imbued with the monster's regenerative powers, it continually heals its wielder. So this is the Beyblade of the Great Fleet. It's a combat weapon, strength +2. AP2, so you've got a great weapon in your hands, except you can put it in one hand if you like, and it's not always strike last. It's got armor bane 1, it's magical attacks, and it gives you regeneration 5+. Note, the wielder of the Jade Blade gains regeneration 5+, just in case you didn't realize it, the special rule does. So this is amazing. You put this on your illusion long, my lord. And now you've got a triple save for 70 points with 30 more points to spend on whatever you like.
Yep.
It's just awesome. You pretty much always take it.
And you're under 350 points. If you're a level 4, you're still under 350 points for a 3 save, like movement 7 flyboy that slams.
Yeah.
And is level 4. Yeah. Both these magic items are mental, but the Jade Forest one, that one, yeah. Auto windmill slam. Get it in every list.
It's great.
All right. The Longma Spear. Have you guys seen my Longma Spear? I've seen my Longma Spear. 25 points. It is combat +1, AP3, armor bane magical attacks, and it's only for cavalry monsters or chariot, and it's strength and AP only in the turn in which it charges. So it's just a super lance. Strength +1 isn't amazing on what I would say is super length, but AP3 with armor band 1 is pretty dang nice. Don't mind this on, like I said, a little skirmishing character. I think it's not too bad, but I would much rather just take the 6-point sword over this. It's fine though. All right, you up, Danny?
All right, so now we have the worst magic item in any book I've ever read. This is 20 points. It's called.
That's a big fucking call. That's a huge call.
It might be. It's really bad, dude.
All right.
So
next episode,
it's strength user, AP 1, extra attacks 1. Magic attacks requires 2 hands, but there is an italicized rule here. So get ready. If the wielder of the Sun and Moon Blades is struck with a killing blow, and keep in mind, it's not going to be on your Shugenja Lord because he doesn't care about those. It's just going to be on one of the other characters who's not mounted on a blimp. Roll a d6. On a 4+, the killing blow is parried, and the killing blow is discarded with no further effect.
So this profile is significantly worse than the just everyone gets the saber. The saber is significantly better than this, and you're paying 14 points on top of the saber for a 50-50. You don't get killing blade.
Right.
Nah, play better. Don't get killing blade.
And 2 hand requirement too.
Yeah,
like
man.
It's so bad. Yeah. Anyway,
It's 2 daggers. Like you need both hands.
maybe for you, I could put one in my teeth, Peter.
Hot.
All right. We're gonna do that. By the way, you've just inspired me. Next episode, we might just do a magic item tier list.
Oh, I thought we were going to do ADHD, but I guess so.
That is pretty much what that episode. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? It makes sense that would be our ADHD episode. Is that we would get distracted talking about something else. Anyway, the armor of the warbird, 45 points. The wearer of the armor of the warbird takes to the skies to strike their enemies from above. No, they don't. You don't take this. But so model if your troop type is regular infantry or heavy infantry. So basically just the gate masters, gatekeepers, or your strategists. The armor of the warbird is a suit of heavy armor. In addition, the wearer gains countercharge, which is kind of cool. Fly, 9, also kind of cool, and swift stride. However, the bearer cannot join a unit. If there was a really good weapon that like the gate masters could take for 55 points or less, I would say this would be great. Otherwise, but right now it's kind of meh. It's not something I would ever take. But maybe in the future, something will want this.
All right. Next up is Crystal of Kunlan for 35. The first of the talismans. It gives the bearer 5 ward save against any wounds suffered. In addition, if a natural 6 is rolled when making that ward save, every enemy model in base contact with the bearer suffers a single strength 3 hit with an AP of dash. They have the flaming attack special rule. So it's talisman preservation with an extra line on it. It's 35 points. It's fine. You'll take it.
So this item is dope on the balloon.
Correct. Giving the balloon a 5 up is absolutely mental.
And then also it has a 100 millimeter base.
Yep.
A lot of guys in that base.
You kind of get like 6 dudes sometimes, and just like, it's good.
Yeah,
I love just 6 dudes all the same time. So the shield of Van Gao.
It's the Bonnie Blue. The Bonnie Blue.
You got one more. You got Crown of Jade.
Oh, I was going to go do the other armor. This is laid out.
We forgot.
Fully.
Oh, yeah, we're bad. I'm bad.
That's okay.
That's my fault.
It's okay. We're just going to go do this one real quick. It's very simple to talk about. This is a 20-point shield. During a turn in which its bearer is charged, you get +2 armor. It's 20 points.
It's actually pretty good because it's like +2 on top of the shield. So you get like it gets your gatekeepers to like a 2+ armor save without having to do anything else, right?
Well, you have on the Jade Lancers, you have counter charge, right? So you count as being charged when you use counter charges still, right?
Yeah, but I'm thinking about like on foot. Like if you wanted to take a gatekeeper on foot and put them in a unit of Jade Warriors, now your guy's got a 2+ armor save whenever you get charged, and you want to be charged when you're in that unit. So
yeah, it's true. Well, yeah,
not bad.
You're right.
I guess it does make the balloon a 2-up. That's pretty good, Adam.
If only the magistrates could take a shield. Can you imagine?
Thank God. Oh my God.
The Crown of Jade for 20 points. Hostile magic recoils from the wearer of this gleaming crown of office. The Crown of Jade gives its wearer a 4+ ward save against any wounds suffered that were caused by a magic missile, a magical vortex, or an assailment spell. It's okay. It's very situational.
Yeah, it's fine. Depending on your meta, you might be playing in a meta that just has people still getting away with their Pillar of Fire dicks. Actually, this is fantastic in the mirror match where people take those 3 Jade sandals. Anyway. Magic Standards is up next. Standard of Weijin for 40 points. A unit carrying the Standard of Weijin causes fear. In addition, all enemy units within 12 of the model carrying the standard suffer a -1 modifier to their leadership characteristic when making fear, panic, or terror tests. For 40 points, do not take this.
Leave it at home, folks.
It's okay. Don't do it, though.
No, don't do it. There's better.
Icon of Heavenly Fury is 35 points. Single use. A unit carrying the Icon of Heavenly Fury may activate during the command subphase of their turn. Until your next start of turn subphase, enemy units can't use Fly X special rules. This is their Falcon Horn. 35 points. Pretty fair that it's only one turn. I think I'm going to take this in every list.
Yeah, you're going to take it.
Yeah, I found I ended up removing it often, but like I always wanted it. So yeah, it's so good, but the army can get so elite so fast. But yeah, you're right. It's fantastic. Next up is the Dragon's Eye banner for 30 points. Under the scrutiny of the Celestial Dragon, enemy wizards falter. When an enemy wizard chooses a unit carrying the Dragon's Eye banner as the target of a spell, roll a d6. On a 3+, the wizard's controlling player must choose a different target. If there's no other viable target in range, the spell is not cast. This is similar to like that Ogre banner, I think it is, right?
Yeah.
And it's cheaper and good.
Yeah. Rune More's 10 more points because fuck me, right?
Yeah. But yeah, like I've run it on like a unit of Jade Lances before, and it was fine.
Yeah.
You don't need to take this, but if you do, like, it's not a terrible decision, especially if you're in a heavy magic.
Yeah. It's part of my Jade Lance Death Star combo where I have this one and the next one. So Banner of the Bastion is the next one for 25 points. Unit gets Shield Wall. And so having those two together is very nice. Or you can have, War Banner in this. But I like Shield Wall is a fantastic special rule to just give out for 25. And you can take it on every unit. Well, every unit that can take a banner in your army can take that. Can take at least a 25-pointer, right? Actually, no, every unit can take a 50-pointer. Am I tripping?
No, the regular dudes can only take a 25.
Fair. That's what I meant. Yeah. So that everyone can take it. All right. What's up next?
Oh, was it me?
Yeah, it's you. And you've got a good one.
All right, so we got Shard of the Maw Shard. Sorry, 40 points. If an enemy wizard rolls any natural double when casting within 18 inches of the bearer of the Maw Shard, it's a miscast, regardless of the actual casting result.
So good.
Hot.
Very good.
So powerful. You put this on a balloon or you put it on your Jade Lancer champion.
Yeah.
It's just wild.
The balloon has Scout, too.
Yeah, the balloon has Scout. Yeah. It has Reserve Move. You just mess up your opponent's day immediately. 1 in 6 chance that they miscast every time they cast a spell is beautiful. Yep. The Alchemist Mask for 35 points. Also an amazing enchanted item. Created in the House of Secrets of Shang Yang, this Sorceress Mask gets the wearer with the alchemical secrets of the Iron Dragon. The wearer of the Alchemist Mask gets Plague of Rust from the Lore of Elementalism as a bound spell with a power level of 3. Absolutely powerful. It's not single use, which is amazing. It's just it's another one that the problem with this book is there's enough magic items that it's hard to fit them all on a list. This is one that you should consider often.
Yep.
On a champion, maybe.
Dude.
Exactly. Like a Jade Lancer champion. It's
once
amazing.
Again.
Or in a balloon again.
Yeah, once again, bound spell level 3 is the key there. That's just above going rate. Does anybody else feel like the bound level 2 has been what they've done mostly in the game for items like this?
I feel like that's true.
I think it's the Empire had the bound level 3, but they made it single use, and we were like, why did you do this to Empire? Apparently, it was an Empire only thing. So,
all right, next up, Spirit Lantern, the first of our common magic items for 25 points. A model carrying the Spirit Lantern causes terror. In addition, a model carrying the Spirit Lantern may reroll any rolls of a natural 1 to wound against any models that are demonic or undead. So you already have hatred demons pretty much, but then you can have a little bit of baby to wound hatred on undead as well. I feel like it's not bad on a lantern.
I
Causing,
just think it's good for
landing
25.
causing terror and then rolling once to wound. Yeah,
Yeah.
25 points to cause terror is totally fine on the going rate, and then get a little bit of extra spice versus demons and undead.
It's
I feel like it's
decent
fine.
against a lot of stuff. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cloak of Po-Mei is a 50 point magic item. This is arcane items now, guys. In addition to the randomly generated spells, the wearer of the Cloak of Po-Mei knows all 3 spells from the lore of Yin or the lore of Yang chosen by their controlling player. However, they can only cast a number of spells equal to their level of wizardry per turn. 50 points, this seems like a decent value.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you 3 extra spells to like toss around, which isn't bad.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Mhm.
Do right.
The Guardian Feng Shi Bow, this is another common item at 35 points. And there's a pretty fun build around it because as a common item, any enemy model that directs its attacks against the owner of the Guardian Feng Shi Bow during the combat phase suffers a -1 modifier to its rolls to hit.
Oh, God.
So you can stack these, put 2 on the same guy, and now they're -2 to hit you in close combat. And that's really fun to do to people.
That's my thing.
That's what the Wood Elves do, and the Minotaurs, and now you do it
And the Tomb
too.
Kings.
It's rude.
Yeah.
It's very
And
rude of you to
what's
do this.
great is like doing this on a Doppelshug if you're not going for like the super magic weapon, is you do this and then you also cast the signature spell, so now you're -3.
Well, this and actually never mind. Yeah, you can take one of these in the Ogre Blade, right? Ogre Blade 65.
Yeah, you can do this, the Ogre Blade and Glittering Robes, and that's not a terrible combo.
No,
you're -2 to be hit, and you have an Ogre Blade to it's just fun.
All right.
But I like the next one better.
Learned Fang Shibo are also tragically common. 15 points. The owner knows one more spell chosen in the usual way than is normal for their level of wizardry. Note this does not increase the wizarding level. For 15 points for an extra spell, absolutely gangbusters. Fantastic.
Not just that, I think you could stack this too. And theoretically,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, usually they say you can only take it once.
Yeah, this one
Why
doesn't.
why would they make it tragically common if you could only take it once?
So you can take 2 of these on the same guy, like on a guy that has a 70-point item that gives him regen and is good in illusion, and now you guaranteed know all the 6 spells in illusion. Pretty sick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty sick, guys. You should do it.
Probably should. All right, into the Cathay special rules. Danny, first up.
So we have Celestial Forged Armor, in parentheses X plus. So a model with a special is a ward save equal to whatever the X plus value is. I think it's been a 5 pretty much the entire time. Is there a 6 in the?
Miao Yang.
Miao Yang
one
upgrades a
is
unit
a 6.
to have a 6.
Oh, she's only a 6? I thought she was a 5.
No,
She's a 5, but she gives the Jade Lancers and Jade Warriors.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
not just ward 6 plus.
Yeah.
Okay. In addition, a wizard with a special roll way more armor and cast without penalty. So
Yay.
Chaos
great
Armor.
Mastery of the Elemental Winds. Once per turn, a wizard within your army that has the special rule and is within 6 inches of another more friendly wizard that also has the special rule may apply a +1 modifier to its casting roll.
only the friendliest wizard, though.
Only the friendliest.
Yeah.
Note that this is a modifier to the result. It does not negate a roll of a natural +1. This is good. It's hard to pull off because your wizards are really expensive for the most part. But when you do, it's really nice to have.
Like I'm thinking like emergency pillar, emergency like mirage, stuff like that. Yeah. Otherwise, you're like you said, it's nice to have, but you don't really plan big turns around it. I don't think it's only the one-off. Will of them their dragons. A unit with a special rule may re-roll a failed panic test when a friendly unit is destroyed whilst within 6 of it, or when it is fled through by a friendly unit. And this is on just most of your army has just Will of Dragons.
Yep.
So you're pretty good on the panic test front. Plus, your army is just like leadership 9 across the board, pretty much. Like you're going to have to struggle. You're going to have to make some mistakes to make it leadership 8, because as long as you have lanterns and a general, you're 9 or better, pretty much army wide at all times.
Honestly, Adam, though, half the time you're going to be leadership 10.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Because of the winds.
Did you forget or better?
Oh yeah,
Danny,
sorry.
Does all better mean nothing to you, Danny?
It doesn't.
right.
I didn't understand what you said, Adam. I don't speak Australian.
That's fair. Not a few. There are a few who do. Few who can.
Danny, tell us about the elemental winds.
All right, so we have the elemental winds. During each of their start of turn subphases, the Grand Cathay player rolls 1d6 to determine the elemental wind that blows the strongest. Which one blows stronger for you? So on roll 1 through 3, it's the winds of Yang. On a 4+, it's the winds of Yin. If you roll the winds of Yang, you increase your dispel range from wizards that take the lore of Yang, because they have to choose between these two different like sub lores.
Yeah.
They increase your dispel range by 3 and the range of any enchantment spells by 3 inches. In addition, all friendly models of the Will of the Dragon special roll gain 1 of the following modifiers: +1 initiative or +1 movement. If you roll the winds of Yin, wizards with the lore of Yin special rule increase the range of any hex or magic missile by 3 inches. In addition, all friendly models with the Will of Dragon special rule gain +1 leadership or +1 weapon skill.
One of these is obviously one of these is better than the others. I think I like just weapon skill is freaking amazing. The leadership is cool, but weapon skill, holy crap, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and at times I'm going to take, different things on different units, right? Like mostly I'm going to take leadership on my blimps and I'm going to take weapon skill all the rest of the time.
Yeah, I'm interested. This is essentially the core rule of Cathay, pretty much. This is the core army rule of Cathay. And I'm really surprised that there's not a single character that has any ability to manipulate it or change it or flip it. Yeah.
Adam, we have an Arcane Journal coming out this year.
Yeah.
What a coincidence. It's almost like a...
Well, if we don't get it in that, I bet eventually they'll give us the Celestial Dragon, and he's going to be like 800 points, and that's going to be his shtick. He's just going to be like, fucking win.
No, you just get both.
Yeah, his rule is just going to be he is the wind.
All right. Yeah. Law of Yang. I'll just smash out all 3 spells. So this is the Constellation of the Dragon. It's a magic missile cast on a 7 or an 11 plus with a range of 18. If this spell is cast with the casting result of 7, the target enemy unit suffers D6 plus 1 strength 4 with AP 0. If the spell is cast with 11 or more, it's 2D6 plus 2 strength 4 with AP 1. This is a legit magic missile.
It's so good.
It's a very legit magic missile. It's a super fireball. Great Bastion is up next. It's an enchantment with a casting value of 9, range of 12. So it remains in play. The target friendly unit gains a 6-up ward against any wound suffered. In addition, every model within the front rank of an enemy unit that ends its charge move in base contact with the target unit whilst the spell is in play must take a dangerous terrain test. Any wounds lost are counted as unsaved wounds inflicted when calculating combat res. However, whilst the spell is in play, the target unit cannot march or charge, mainly, and can target a friendly unit in combat. I'm a bit weird on if this one's any good, but we'll discuss them as a pack in a moment. And the last one is Might of Heaven and Earth. It's an enchantment also with a range of 9/12. It's of self. So casting value of 9 or 12 with a range of self. If the spell is cast with a 9 or more, the caster, their mount, and any unit they have joined gain +1 to their weapon skill and strength to a maximum of 10 and gain the flaming attack special rule. If it's a 12 or more, every friendly unit within the caster's command range will get +1 weapon skill and strength and gain the flaming attack special rule and last till the end of turn. That's a banger. I mean, if you have the winds blowing in the right way, you got +2 weapon skill kind of on all the relevant places. What do you guys feel? So, Peter, actually, having played with them already, how do you feel about Yang as a package?
I haven't really used Constellation of the Dragon because I was really trying more unique stuff with Miao Ying. But I have used Might of Heaven and Earth with her, and it's really good. Getting that weapon skill 7 turn where you have like your unit of Lancers or your unit of Warriors, you roll Winds of Yin, so you get that +1 weapon skill. So now they're weapon skill 6, and then you cast the spell when you join the unit. It's amazing. Weapon skill 7. All of a sudden, like I was playing into Warriors of Chaos, and I finally got this combo to work, and just had this gigantic Chaos Beast all of a sudden hitting me on 5s with their D6 +1 attacks. It was beautiful. Loved it. Every second of it. And then, getting bumped to strength 4, strength 5 isn't terrible. But yeah, it's okay. The Constellation Dragon, I've never cast it, but it's just a good magic missile. The Bastion's weird. I'm also not sold on it. I don't think it's that amazing.
I don't like it. Also, considering the 2 units you're likely to take, your 2 rank and file units, the Lancers and the Jade, if you only take the 1 unit of each and upgrade them with Meow, they both have a 6 up already. And so this does absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly right. I'm agree with you. Like, you don't need to play the Constellation of the Dragon to know that good magic missile is good. It's fine. Totally fine. Danny, give us Yin, and then Peter, once again, rip off on the anecdotes.
Right. So Yin also has 3 lore or 3 spells in the signatures that you can swap for. So the first one is Spirits of Wind and Shadow. This is a hex, casting value 10 plus, range 15 inches. Until your next start of turn step phase, the enemy unit gets random move D6 inches. It's awesome. It's awesome.
It's amazing. It's so so stupid. Anyway.
Accursed Mirror is the next one. It's a hex, casting value 9, range 15 inches. Until your next start of turn phase, reroll any hit rolls of natural 1 made by the target enemy unit during the shooting phase or the combat phase. Anytime they roll a natural roll of 1.
Yeah.
During shooting or combat, they take a strength 3 hit with AP -1 that resolves against the enemy unit, and you can cast that in close combat. And then finally, there's an Assailment in Ancestral Warriors. It's a Assailment, casting value 7 or 11 plus, range combat. If this spell is cast with 7 or more, the enemy unit takes 2d3 strength 2 hits with AP nothing. If it's cast with the casting result of 11 or more, they take 2d6 strength 4 hits with AP -1. This spell has Armor Bane 2 as well.
I love this one.
Yeah, those are all really good.
Yep.
Peter.
Spirits of Wind and Shadow feels busted sometimes.
Well, the fact that you have Illusion as an option, right? So you can take a Shugen Lord with Illusion, get Mirage, Pillar, and take Spirit, and you have a triple option shutdown. Like on your opponent's dragon, you're just like, cool. All right, cool. I didn't get Mirage off. Cool. I'll chuck for Spirits of Wind and Fire. Didn't get that off. Oh well. Hail Mary, chuck a pillar in front of you. You got a 3 option shutdown. And it's freaking amazing.
Yeah. Like there's definitely a build where you take 2 Illusion Shugen Lords, and you get both of them to have Miasmic and this spell, and you can shut down 4 units in a turn potentially.
Units. Yeah.
I find that Miao Ying's also really good for Spirits of Wind and Shadow because of her teleport, and that's where I got the most use out of it, because it's really hard for your opponent to outrange your hexes with that. Yep. So it's pretty easy to either switch into dragon mode or switch into human mode. Easier with human because you're still a level 4 caster, and then like slam them with the Spirit of Wind and Shadow, and all of a sudden they're random move D6, or with a Miasmic. If you can get your Shugen Lord in the right position the turn before, it makes it even better because you can get that +1 to cast on the one you really want to get off.
Yeah.
Accursed Mirror, I only value I really see in it right now is up against like those crazy blobs.
I thought the same thing. Someone's got like a 60 Goblin Archer blob, and you're just like, stop killing yourself. Yeah, it sounds pretty funny.
Ancestral Warriors is okay. It's a decent assailment spell. I've never even bothered to try, but if you get off the 11 plus, it's actually pretty stellar, right? And you can combo this if you take that Cloak of Pomei. It was a build I wanted to try. A Shug Lord with battle magic, the Cloak of Pomei, and then you take this and Hammerhand.
Yeah, dude.
And then you basically try to assailment spell people to death. I think that would be fun.
Me too. I agree. All right. Armory of Grand Cathay. The Cathayan Lance, we've already stated, is strength +1, AP 1, armor bane 1, fight an extra rank. Troop type with cavalry and monster or chariot only. The Lance's strength and AP modifiers are only in a turn in which which to be able to charge. So you always fight an extra rank with it, which I think is kind of key as well. I'm a big fan. It's not a bad lance. It's like 1 less strength than a bunch, and 1 less AP than some other lances, but I still think it's pretty serviceable. Danny.
Yep. Next we have the Celestial Blade. Strength +1, AP -1, strikes first. What a great upgrade to a bunch of different characters. It's just really solid.
What a workhorse.
Yeah. The Dragonfire pistol. This actually, I think, is like the first reference to another unit that we're going to see later, because it talks about it being a smaller version of the weapon wielded by Dragonfire gunners. So I suspect we're going to see those at some point. And then it's just a range 12, strength 5, AP 1, flaming attacks, multiple shots 2, quick shot gun. I think right now the only option is to take this on one of the Shugengans, either the General or the Lords. You probably never do, because it's like a 10-point upgrade, and there's just other stuff you're going to want to do with those points.
Agreed.
But it's not bad. Like, it's got a pretty decent profile. So,
I mean, a unit with that in the future, it's kind of attractive, depending on some terms and conditions. Gunpowder bombs, which you already mentioned, they're range 9. These are carried by the ogre loaders. Range 9, and sorry, you can upgrade it. A bunch of other bits and pieces. Characters can have them. Strength 3, AP 0, armor band 1, move and shoot, quick shot. If you hit, it does D3 hits to the target. Totally fine on the little bits and pieces you can take. And one last one, Danny.
So then we have Dragonfire bombs. This is just an upgraded version of the other of gunpowder bombs. They're strength 4 instead of strength 3. They have AP -1. They also have armor bane, flaming attacks, move and shoot, and quick shot. Anytime that you hit with one, you do D3 +1 hits on the enemy unit rather than just the normal one.
mm-hmm.
I'm a bit of a fan of them.
Nice upgrade on those.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a fan of them. And that brings us to the freaking end. That's it. That's the whole shebang, boys. We did it, cover to cover. Closing thoughts. How good do you think this book is, Peter? Out of 10, how, with the games that you've had with it, how happy have you been with the construction of this army? And then how competitive do you think it'll be? Top tier, mid tier, bottom tier?
I'm like a 9 out of 10 with this army. I really like it a lot. It's the most fun I've had playing Old World in a while.
Wow.
Like I enjoyed the Beastman Arcane Journal for just doing shenanigans and silliness. This book, like when you really play it and you build the lists, I find it really makes you think, like extra hard all the time. And I want to put more reps into it. I'm really excited about it. In terms of competitiveness, we'll have to see. I feel like this army really does not like Bretonia, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a lot of great answers to them. It can play against Bretonia, like it can stand up, but you're on the back foot, I find, a lot of the time. And if you're going like full balloons, you're also a huge fan of like Tomb King's poison spam and shit, because they can just drop them. That said, I still think this is easily in the top half of armies. Easily.
Oh yeah, I have it. I'm not willing to say it's in top tier yet, but I'd put this on the border between mid tier and top tier.
Yeah.
Because it's a brand new army, I have no frame of reference for how good this stuff is, and unlike you, I haven't played any games with it yet. But I think it's on the cusp of top tier, and we'll see. Because yeah, you're right. Bretonians are top tier, and you have to have a game into the other top tier armies to kind of hang in that top tier. So that might be what keeps them out. Danny, how happy are you with it? And do you agree with our assessments competitively?
I think it's a really cool army for the limited number of like sheets or like profiles that they have in the list. I think they've done a really good job with that. Like I think you mentioned before, Adam, they really got a lot of bang for your buck out of not very many kits. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're like when they get their next like wave of models. That should make this a much more well-rounded army, I would suspect.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I haven't seen this on the table, and I really want to kind of get a better feel. My gut feeling is that the dragon build is really powerful, and then I think that there's like another build that doesn't use the special character that's probably pretty good. But I really want to see this on the table before I make but I think it could be top tier. It seems like very efficient for what it has.
Yeah. My only qualm is I don't know if it has a rock solid dragon solution outside like 5 cannons shooting twice, which pretty good solution.
I mean, that's pretty good. Dragons pretty good.
Pretty good, man.
Like also the Monkey King dude. Like if you decide to take that Monkey Wisdom, the Monkey King, that's a lot of wounds. Even the Doppelshug with the Beyblade sword is gonna do a number, right?
Yeah.
I think if there's a problem with the list, it's other than like you're relying a lot on your Shugen Lord as a hammer because you don't really have another really good one. Like the Lancers are only strength +1 AP1, right? So like you're putting a lot of weight on the Doppel Lords to like deal with elite cavalry and stuff a lot of the time, because your other answer, the Sentinel, is pretty expensive. It's a pretty expensive, and it's not very fast. So,
well, this is one of my biggest issues with the Sentinels. Like a Shugen Lord is 10 points cheaper at starting value than a Sentinel. Sentinel's 230. Shugen Lord comes in at 220 starting value. If you add just like the Jade upgrade for the 30 points or whatever, you're at 250 for 30 points. Yeah. A 250, a Shugen Lord for 250 is just better than a Sentinel, in my opinion. It's and already comes as level 2. So I'm shitty on the Sentinels. They're the only model that I feel like, in my mind, doesn't have a place. Doesn't do as much as I wanted to do. Everything in this army feels like it overperforms in its role, except for the Sentinels, in my estimation. The freaking lanterns can piss off. How do you even charge with a lantern? How do you do a charge move with a freaking lantern? Someone explain the physics.
Have you watched Tangled? Like those things move really fast.
Shut up.
Adam, have you ever been hit by a balloon basket from a hot air balloon?
No, I'm assuming it would suck, but I'm also assuming it would come relatively. I'm assuming I'd be like, there's a balloon coming right for me from like several hundred meters away. I could probably just move.
Oh, he'll move. It's a balloon.
The balloon's going to adjust course to get me.
Adam, 160 years ago, a guy went around the world in 80 days in one. That's pretty fast.
Did you ever hear about that?
Did you hear about that guy?
Yeah. I bet you he studied
wind. You think he didn't charge a little bit during his trip around the world?
I'm going to go down a freaking wiki spiral right here trying to find out.
Did you know that Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan both accomplished this?
Well, if Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan did it, that's holy crap! I forgot that movie existed.
Anyway,
yeah. So please don't transform my multiple turns. Please just assume that's not a thing. It's the dumbest thing I've conjured.
You were so mad about that.
Sorry?
Like, I'm having flashbacks to you were so mad about that.
Mm-hmm. That they didn't think of it. Yeah, I'm mad that G-Dub didn't think of it. There's no reason.
I'm mad I didn't think about it. I should have been doing that in my practice games.
There's no reason she should get to move 6 inches when she transforms. There's no reason these dragons should get movement out of transforming as well. They should have to be placed as close as possible to where the original unit is.
Adam,
1 inch away from everything.
They shouldn't get healing when they transform.
And they shouldn't heal either. Yeah, correct. They shouldn't heal either. Like, it's way too juicy.
Both of you are very wrong. I think they should get all of that anymore.
Shut up. Yeah. So don't transform multiple times, people. Don't be a dick. If anybody does it versus you, write their name down, send it into us. We'll fix them up.
In one turn. Don't do it. You can do it multiple times elsewhere. Just don't in one turn do it.
And by that, I mean, we're going to gas them up hard.
Yeah, we're going to like seriously. We'll put them on blast on the show if someone tries to do that to you.
Okay,
you will. I'm going to be congratulating them for a job well done and playing by the rules as written.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe they don't see that. I can't believe no one else saw that apart from my filthy ass. Anyway, we're out of here. That's enough. We're going to go over and record part 2, answer some questions, talk about some lists. Peter's going to give it the rundown on the games, what has performed, what hasn't performed, where we think this army is good, and what can be done to make Cathay have a game versus Bretonians, if anything. And hopefully you guys will come and join us there. That's at Patreon at That Old World Charm. All right, boys, say your goodnights.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to That Old World Charm with those charming chaps, Adam, Danny, and Peter the Fal-Con. Thanks ever so much. Cheerio.